Stacy's Kitchen is brought to you by Persad's The Food King Supermarket and Chatak Quality Food Products.
Welcome to Stacy's Kitchen. Well, you know it's that time of year again. So on today's episode, we will be making some lovely pastels, some homemade bread, and a special drink. So without further ado, let's head on down to Persad's The Food King Supermarket, where we'll be getting all our wonderful ingredients for today's recipe. So come on, let's go. Let me start getting my stuff for the pastels. I'm seeing some lovely diced or sliced olives here, so I'm gonna get a bottle of this. This price is actually amazing, guys. It was $21.99, it's now $19.99. Carbonelli is also really, really good. And I'm gonna make my way over to the capers. Alright, so I'm just gonna get a bottle of these capers. Oh, these look so lovely. Wow, prices are amazing as well. All right, so it's cornmeal time. So let me grab a pack of this cornmeal. Yes, we must have cornmeal for our pastels. And while I'm here, I'm just gonna grab a pack of flour for my bread. So I'm going to get a pack of all-purpose flour. And of course I need oil for my pastels to make them nice and smooth. So I'm just going to get a bottle of this oil. To have my Chatak seasonings for my meat, so I'm gonna get some chili powder, some ground black pepper, and of course my paprika. And guys, just a little secret, probably like a half teaspoon of turmeric powder is always nice in your seasoning. And of course I need my ketchup in my pastels to give it that little punch of flavor, so I'm gonna grab a pack of ketchup right here. Guys, these prices are so amazing at Persad's. Okay, so I have a special drink I'm going to make, so I'm going to grab this box of sorrel right here to start with. So I'm just gonna get some fizz in my drink. So I'm gonna grab this bottle of wine.
Welcome to the Chatak Kitchen, where it's tastier and spicier. For even more taste, cook with Chatak's Amchar Masala, saffron, ground jeera and black pepper. Mix in Chatak's mild, spicy or Madras curry. Get a burst of excitement with a mango amchar, pomsade and mango kuchila, lime and pepper chunks, West Indian hot sauce and lime pepper sauce. Plus, Chatak's tamarind and mango chutneys are perfect with kalori and sahina. So make your kitchen a Chatak kitchen. Chatak's fruit products, bringing good taste to life.
Alright guys, so I am going to start with seasoning my meat for my pastels. Alright, so I'm going to have some chili powder from Chatak, about 2 teaspoons. I have some freshly ground green seasonings, and I have 2 pounds of minced beef here. Alright, so I'm going to put a dash of Chatak's black pepper as well. Most times people love pastel spicy. Alright, some paprika. I'm just going to put about a teaspoon of salt to start with. I'm also using some of Chatak's parsley. And I'm hoping that you guys try this recipe. I am going to make this pastel making as simple as possible. So we have our seasonings in here, and I'm going to combine everything now. You can use your hands also, which most people do. Alright, so I put the basic seasonings into the meat. I'm going to be adding a bit more in a second. My pan is heating, and you don't have to leave this any particular amount of time to set. We can start cooking this in the next 2 minutes or so. Alright, so my meat is seasoned and my pan is heating, so I'm going to add a bit of oil. Not too much, because minced beef is a bit greasy in itself. So I'm just going to coat the bottom of my pan with my oil. And in about 1.5 minutes, I'm going to add my meat. I have some chopped up onion and pimento and chives and a piece of hot pepper. I'm going to add that to the pan first. This seasoning looks nice and Christmassy. Okay, so now I am going to add the minced beef. I have some Christmas colors going on in here. Alright, so we're going to let the beef brown, as we see, before we continue adding the rest of the ingredients to it. Alright, so we're going to let that cook up for a couple minutes, and I am going to start my homemade bread. Okay, so I have some olives and some capers and a couple raisins. I love raisins in my pastels. I know some people don't like the raisins, but I like it for a bit of the sweetness, you know. So I'm adding that to my meat to fry up as well. And you can add how much you want to it. But just make sure your measurements are adding up, you know. Guys, let me tell you something. If you learn to make pastels, you will be saving a lot of money. right, so in addition to all of that, I am going to finish up my meat with some ketchup. And this is really for color and as well a bit of sweetness because the pastel meat is usually a bit spicy. Well, most people like the spice, you know. Alright, so this meat is actually almost done. And this took what? All of 10 minutes? Alright, so my water for my bread and also my pastels is almost ready there, as you can hear in my kettle. Alright, so this meat, I'm just going to leave this for about 10 minutes again to cook, and now I'm going to start my bread. So my meat is ready. Look at that. It's beautiful in color. The texture is nice and smooth. And let me taste this. Perfect, perfect. All right, so I'm going to turn my stove off and time for our homemade bread. All right, so it's bread time. So I have here 6 cups of flour, and to that I'm going to add 1 pack of yeast. Now some people like to proof the yeast before, but you don't really have to do that. And I'm going to put some brown sugar. This helps the yeast to rise. And I'm also going to add some salt. Now your water has to be warm, okay, not overly hot, or else your bread will not rise properly. All right, so I'm going to start kneading my flour. All right, so you want a nice soft dough. Not overly soft, but so that your bread isn't tough. Well, I mean, some breads are nice tough, but when you're doing homemade bread for Christmas, you want a nice soft, fluffy loaf. All right, so I'm going to add a little more water. And I really hope you guys try the recipes. They are so easy. You can get 2 really nice loaves from this amount of flour, from these measurements. Or if you don't like the bread too big, you can get, well, three small loaves. All right, so I'm just gonna add some more dry flour to that. Alright, so you see my dough is coming together nicely. So always keep an extra cup of flour. So when you come into the end of it, just to bring everything together. Alright, so bread making, you have to get your hands in it. I didn't want to pull out the mixer today. Alright, so that should be it there. Alright, so my dough looks really, really nice here now. I'm cleaning the sides of my bowl. Alright, so this looks really, really nice here. You could add a little bit of butter if you want. I'm just going to put a little piece in here. Alright, let me clean my hands up. So I have some softened butter here. So I'm probably just going to put 1 teaspoon. Alright. It gives the crust a more flaky finish rather than dry and hard. All right, so look at that, guys. How lovely is that? All right, so we're gonna leave this to raise for about 45 minutes. You can leave it longer if you want, but I would usually, so it will double in size. So you're gonna put a wet cloth over it and leave it to raise for about 45 minutes.
Welcome to the Chatak Kitchen, where it's tastier and spicier. For even more taste, cook with Chatak's Amchar Masala, saffron, ground jeera and black pepper. Mix in Chatak's mild, spicy or Madras curry. Get a burst of excitement with a mango amchar, homsade and mango kuchila, lime and pepper chunks, West Indian hot sauce and lime pepper sauce. Plus, Chatak's tamarind and mango chutneys are perfect with kalori and sahina. So make your kitchen a Chatak kitchen. Chatak's fruit products, bringing good taste to life.
So, pastel time. So I'm going to do the dough for the pastel, right? So we need to have our water warm. I have my cornmeal here, my seasonings, my oil, right? So let me first start by putting some butter in here. I'm adding 2 teaspoons of butter. I'm adding a bit of the Chatak's chili powder, just to give some flavor to the cornmeal. Cornmeal usually doesn't have any taste at all. You have to add your flavor. A little paprika. I'm going to use some all-purpose seasoning in this. All right, I'm going to put a little bit of the Chatak's garlic seasoning. So these are just my little, additions to my pastel dough. All right, so of course I want to get some salt in here. So I have 2 cups of cornmeal here. We'll put 1 teaspoon of salt and we're going to add a little bit of sugar as well. All right, I'm also going to put 1/4 cup of oil. And now it's time to bring this dough together. All right, so I'm going to use my hands. All right, and again, we want the dough to be moist. Cornmeal is usually very dry. All right, so it's as simple as that, All right, so from the 2 cups, we could get about 5 pastels, 5 nice size. All right, so you want to be able to make it into a ball. All right, so as you see, this consistency is really nice. Yeah? All right, so we're almost done here. Our dough is nice and smooth. Always make sure your water is warm. You add a little bit of butter, a little bit of oil. All right, so we have our dough and I'm going to do a couple balls. Some people like their pastels thin, some people like their pastels thick. So that will be something to look at. Depending how thin or thick you want your pastels, will have to determine the size of the dough. All right, guys, so time for the grand finale of my pastels. All right, so I pretty much made this simple. So I'm going to put some oil on my banana leaf. And I'm gonna take my dough, my little pastel ball, and I'm just gonna press it out nicely with my fingers. Alright, so now I'm gonna add the meat to the center. So you can put how much, depends on how big you want it. Alright, so now I'm just gonna fold this over like this. And you're gonna give it a little press. Alright, so I'm gonna wrap the foil. Let me just take a little peek at this. Ooh, this is so nice. Look at that, guys. Right, so you can fold it rectangular, you can fold it, you know, semicircle, anyhow you want. All right, so now I'm gonna use my foil and I'm just gonna fold it in like this. Like so. Right. Nice and cute. Alright, so no strings today, no pastel press, just really simple and nice and homemade. Alright, so let me finish up the rest and then we're going to steam the pastels for about 20 minutes. Our pastels are nicely wrapped in my little banana leaves, and now I'm going to place them into the double boiler. Some people usually just put some water in a pot and steam them for about 15 to 20 minutes, but I have a double boiler which I'm going to be using, so I'm just going to place them in there. Alright, so I'm just going to cover that and allow it to boil for about, well, let's say steam. In this case, this is steaming for about 15 to 20 minutes. Time to finish up my bread. So my bread flour had doubled in size. So I'm just going to punch it down a bit. And I'm going to place my loaves into my greased pans. And I just use a bit of butter. All right, so I'm just going to do 2 nice loaves. Alright, so I'm just gonna form it in the shape of a loaf, just like this, and I'm gonna place it into my pan. Punch 3 holes there. Alright, so there we have it. Our 2 lovely homemade loaves. And I'm just gonna allow this to raise for about 15 minutes again, and then we're gonna be baking our homemade bread. So, time for my surprise drink. Well, it's a holiday drink. My take on, my Sorrel Sangria. Alright, so I'm going to use 3/4 of a cup of my sangria wine. And then I'm going to use 1/2 cup of sorrel. Alright, so I've infused this with some aniseed and cinnamon. And I'm just going to give this a shake. Alright, so you can have this chilled or you don't have to have it chilled, because some people don't like their wines to be chilled. Alright, so I'm just going to pour this in here. How pretty is that? And to top it all off, I am going to use 1/8 of a teaspoon of Chatak's clove powder. Listen guys, you need to try this drink. It's amazing, trust me. All right, so there we have it. My holiday drink. How pretty is that? So it's time to try our pastel. All right, so I left this for about 20 minutes to make sure it was steamed properly. Now, the thing is with cornmeal, once you add the warm water, it's kind of pre-cooked, but we still like to give it, a nice little juicy flavor, so we steam it again. Over steaming sometimes will break it up or dry it up. So I would say between 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the size of the thickness of the dough. All right, so let's try this. I'm gonna turn my boiler off. All right. So, ooh, how lovely is that? Guys, our bread is ready. Oh my gosh, it smells so amazing. All right, let me just turn this out. Ooh, lovely. Okay guys, so we have come to the end of this episode. And I am so pleased with everything. Guys, be sure to try our recipes. The number is there. WhatsApp us and let us know what you think. So, first off, I'm going to put a little bit of butter on this freshly baked bread. And I'm just going to use my hands. Yep, on point. Right now I'm going to try the pastel. Guys, look at that. Perfectly cooked. Well, as always, I'm outdoing myself again. But anyway, time to try my holiday drink. Amazing. I'm getting all the spices. The blend is really, really good. You need to try this. Okay, guys. So, special thanks again to Chatak and to Persad, the Food King Supermarket, for all these amazing ingredients, herbs, spices, and guys, be sure to check Stacy's Kitchen out on ACTN The Voice every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Enjoy.